Well, it's extremely cold and cloudy out, and the forecast is calling for nothing but rain. So, reading time. Okay, moved into the kitchen temporarily just to do a very quick kind of TBR plan for the day. I have no idea how many of these I'll get through. I don't even know how long I'm going to read for. My plan is the whole day, but depending on how things go, how I feel, I may even turn this into a 24-hour readathon for myself. I haven't really decided that far yet, but jumping right into it, I got Gilded Wolves by Roshni, I think he's saying Chakshi. This was recommended to me from my local bookstore because they know I like the Six of Crows duology, and this is apparently got kind of a similar feel, so I thought I would pick that one up. Heart of Iron. This is a sci-fi. That's about all I know about it. I've heard it rumored that it's like an Anastasia but in space. I don't know how accurate that description is, though. It certainly doesn't read like it is from the synopsis. But yeah, so that will be an interesting read. Another sci-fi, which is Zero Repeat Forever. This one's by G.S. Pendergast. Oh, and Heart of Iron was by Ashley Poston. This one, I believe it's like a little bit of a sci-fi, or maybe it's a total sci-fi. I like to go into my books quite blind, but I believe this one has to do with like robots and maybe not. I'm not really sure. It definitely has to do with two warring factions, though, and it reads like a bit of a sci-fi. So that one has got my interest. Then there is Paradox Bound by Peter, I think it's pronounced Clinis. This was recommended to me again by someone at the bookstore. She said because I like shows like Doctor Who, The X-Files, that kind of thing, that I would probably really enjoy this, especially because I do like a little bit on the weirder side of urban fantasy. So thought I would give that a shot. This one's been on my shelf a while. I've been meaning to pick it up and just keep glossing over it. So hey, today might be a good day for that. We'll see. And that is Scythe by Neal Shusterman. I feel like this has been talked about enough online, so I'm not really going to go into that one. Then there's Sarah Rosh, These Rebel Waves. This, I think, was talked about when it first came out a lot. When it first came out, it was talked about a lot, but I haven't heard anything since. And before I read a book, I never read reviews on it. So I believe this is, from what I recall from the synopsis, is like a pirate fantasy kind of book. So that one might be interesting. And then this one was a whim pickup. It was kind of one of those, the cover was pretty, so I bought it. And that's The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. Again, this kind of is like a secret society, kind of like Paradox Bound from the vibes I got from the synopsis, where it's kind of along the veins of like Doctor Who or the X-Files or those fantastical kind of sci-fi shows. And this one definitely has to do with the secret society. This is probably the one I think I might start with, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I'll make that decision later. So yeah, that's where the pile is. I just randomly grabbed a bunch off my bookshelf, and that's what I ended up with. And I'll see how many of them I get to read today. Bye-bye. Right, so when I plan a day of reading, I usually get myself all set up. This is the setup I usually got. I got a couple of candles there that are just ready to be lit. I got my coffee ready to go. I've got a little hand project ready to go for those times when I might need to take a break from the book. Now, my other dilemma. Hello, girls. Are you going to let me sit on the couch today? I think there might be enough room. We'll see. Once I sit down, one or both of them usually tries to turn into a lapdog. Usually both. And it makes sitting on the couch very difficult. But we'll see where it goes. They might be nice to me today. Okay. We got on the couch without incident. Except, I have a friend. She'll probably be in my lap soon enough. She's the big cuddle munchkin in the house. This other one, not as big of a cuddle munchkin, but she usually will try and crawl on my lap, at least at some point in the day. Anyway, I am starting off with, let's go out here a bit, The Invisible Library. I reread all the synopsis from each of the books, and that was the one most intrigued me to start with. So that's the one I'm starting with. And see you in the next clip. Okay, so I'm a few hours into my reading day, and I thought I would do this little update because I'm about 100 pages into The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. So I was expecting this to be kind of just your typical, like, secret society, conspiracy theory type book. And it actually has ended up being an incredibly, I don't even know the word for it. It's definitely like one of the most unique books I think I've read to date. It does have to do with secret society, of course. There's a little bit of a conspiracy that's just kind of starting to show up. Basically what it is there is numerous dimensions. They're not even alternate timelines. They're called the alternates, or the alternate histories in the book. Which is basically anything different from our own, where something in history happened differently. Sometimes, and it's an alien invasion. Sometimes a dictator that should have died or would have died it had been our history didn't die. Other times humans never evolved into the primary creature. Instead it was elves or mermaids or whatever. And there's different ways these worlds are labeled. So if they're very high in technology but low in magic, or if they're a combination of both, which I kind of think the idea of a robot mage is kind of cool. But anyway, that's beside the point. So they're called the librarians. These doors to these alternate worlds are kind of all centered into this one place that I'm not really sure if it's because it's outside of reality or if it's actually set in a specific time, like our world with gates to other worlds, or if our world's just another gate and this place is set outside of all known realities. There are two major forces. There are the dragons, which are the force for order and law and, natural occurrences in the universe. Then there's the Order of the Fae, which are the magical, chaotic sort of forces in the universe. Underneath the Fae can fall other unnatural beings such as vampires, werewolves, things that are not necessarily born but are created through either like arcane magic or technology or whatever. And it has to do with the adventure of one in particular librarian, and these doors are protected by the library, and the people that work for this society, this library society, are called librarians. And they are very much like the followers of dragons. They are very organized, and they have laws, and they're very by the book, and this is the natural law of things, so this is the way it's got to go. And they go into other worlds to get different books, artifacts, things like that. In the magic that the librarian use, it's called, I believe, the language they call it, where it seems to be like this almost godlike magic where it's ever changing. So they'll say something, and if you're a librarian, you'll understand it in the librarian language. But if you are not a librarian, it will just translate itself into whatever language you speak or whatever culture you're part of. And librarians can wield it like a magic, where they can, through the power of words, can describe an object and then tell it to do something, or describe a person and tell them to do something, and they have to do it. There's no this thing that controls them. And anyway, that's kind of what I've gotten out of it. It probably makes no sense if you're not reading the book, because I'm very bad at explaining things. But I am incredibly fascinated, and I will definitely be finishing this one today. I'm even reading it a little slower than I normally read, because I want to really absorb everything. So yeah, that's where I am for now. I touch base in a few more hours, and guess let you know how I'm doing, if I've moved on to another book, if I'm still reading this one. How's it going? Anyway, bye all. See you in the next clip. Hey all, so it's a little after 11, so I'm just at the end of my planned reading day. I'm not tired yet, so I figure I'm just gonna keep going until I fall asleep. I might do a full 24 hours. I'm not planning to do it, but I definitely am not ready for bed anytime soon, so we'll just keep going on. But I am almost done with The Invisible Library. This has taken me the whole day to read, even though it's not that long. It's only 350 pages, but it's just a very absorbing book. The characters and the world and the author's way of writing, they just all kind of make you want to just sit down and slow down and really absorb everything that's going into the story. The story itself seems to be pretty simple. I mean, there's an artifact, and there's a theft, and there's a murder, and a bad guy. It's like this Lord Voldemort type bad guy. It's like the ultimate bad guy kind of guy. You have heroes that are, trying to save this artifact or find this artifact and solve this murder, and, trying to avoid this conflict at this point with this bad guy. But I don't know, it's just the way it's written and the way that Genevieve Cogman has developed her story. So that's what I did basically all day, is I just very slowly went through it, meandered my way through the story, just really, really absorbed everything that was going on. It's been an incredibly long time, possibly years, since a book has done that to me. Now there are others in this series. I believe there's 4 more. I haven't picked them up, but they are on my wish list for the next time I buy books, because if they are anything like this one, they are going to be definite reads for me. And I didn't mention it in any other clips, that is an adult fantasy, so it does deal with some pretty hard-hitting topics. If anyone, is looking at it, definitely keep that in mind. It's not definitely not one I'd recommend for a younger reader at all in any way. It's not dark, it's not like a, it's certainly not as dark as like a Game of Thrones or Prince of Thorns or anything like that. It's just with the way characters are portrayed and and with the way the story, elements of the story are put together. They're definitely, it's written for an older audience. Just throwing that out there. The Gilded Wolves is the next one that I am planning to pick up once I have finished The Invisible Library, which I'll have finished by midnight. And then I'll see how far I get into that one. I haven't really decided yet what I'm planning to do, so that's it for now. See you guys in the next clip. Bye bye. Hey y'all, so it's the next morning after my reading day, and I read till about, I didn't look at fully at the clock, but it was 1 something is what I ended up reading to, and I got the first 50 pages of The Gilded Wolves in. So far, I'm really enjoying where this book is going. I am really happy with the recommendation that my bookstore made to me, so I'll probably continue plugging away at that one. I'm not going to bother vlogging or anything, though, for it. It's just going to be a normal day, not anything special or anything. So, yeah, that's it. Just a quick touch base, quick little let you know where I ended up after last night, and see you guys in the next vlog. Bye.